Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to dive deep into the fascinating world of one of the most iconic and widely collected American coins, the Washington quarter dollar, a coin that has been in circulation for nearly a century and has captured the attention of collectors, historians, and casual enthusiasts alike because of its historical background, design significance, and incredible auction values that make some pieces worth a fortune far beyond their 25-cent face value. So let's begin with the story of how this coin came into existence, going back to 1932 when the United States was preparing to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. And what better way to honor the first president of the United States than to feature his portrait on a coin that would be used every day by millions of Americans, replacing the standing Liberty quarter that had been minted since 1916. And while that design was beloved by many, the Treasury wanted something that would pay tribute to Washington's legacy, which led to a competition among artists, eventually resulting in the famous portrait of Washington that we still recognize today, designed by John Flanagan, a sculptor who created a right-facing profile of Washington based on a bust by Jean-Antoine Houdon, capturing the strength, dignity, and leadership qualities of the nation's founding father. And once introduced in 1932, the Washington quarter quickly became a cornerstone of U.S. coinage, minted in 90% silver and 10% copper until 1964, which means that early examples are highly prized not only for their historical significance but also for their intrinsic silver content, especially as silver prices have soared over the decades, making these pre-1965 quarters a favorite target for collectors and investors. And it is here that the story of value begins to take shape, because while most people think of quarters as mere pocket change, rare dates, mint marks, and error coins have transformed certain Washington quarters into treasures worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction, with the most notable example being the incredibly famous 1932 D and 1932 S Washington quarters, the first year of issue and minted in very low quantities, with the Denver Mint striking just 436,800 and the San Francisco Mint only 408,000, making them the key dates of the entire series. And in top condition, these coins can sell for astonishing prices, with examples graded MS-67 fetching more than $80,000 at major auctions, proving that condition and rarity are everything in the coin world. But the story doesn't end there, because Washington quarters minted between 1932 and 1964 in silver have additional value simply due to their metal content, with each quarter containing 0.1808 troy ounces of silver, which even at today's silver prices adds up to far more than face value, making them highly desirable among silver stackers as well as traditional collectors. But what makes this coin series truly fascinating is the number of varieties and errors that exist, from double dies to off-center strikes to over-mint marks, with famous examples like the 1934 double die obverse, where Washington's motto, "In God We Trust," shows clear doubling visible without magnification, a coin that has sold for thousands of dollars in mint state. And then there is the 1950 D/S over mint mark error, where a Denver mint mark was punched over a San Francisco mint mark, another highly collectible rarity. And when it comes to special issues, one cannot ignore the bicentennial Washington quarters released in 1975 and 1976 to celebrate America's 200th birthday, featuring Jack L. R's reverse design of a colonial drummer boy with a torch encircled by 13 stars, an image that remains iconic to this day. And while most bicentennial quarters are common, there exist rare silver-clad proof versions and special high-grade strikes that command strong premiums. And speaking of special designs, the Washington quarter also transitioned in 1999 into the legendary 50-state quarters program, where each U.S. state received its own reverse design, followed by the America the Beautiful quarters beginning in 2010, proving the enduring popularity of this coin as a canvas for national pride and historical commemoration. But collectors always return to the early silver years for true treasures, with record auction sales including a 1932 D quarter graded MS-66 that realized nearly $90,000, and a 1932 S quarter in similarly superb condition selling for over $35,000, while even more recent issues like a rare 1949 D quarter in MS-68 condition brought nearly $44,000 at auction, showing that even mid-century issues can command jaw-dropping prices if preserved in pristine state. And when discussing value, it is crucial to understand grading, with coins evaluated on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70, where an MS-70 represents a flawless specimen, and for Washington quarters, the difference between an MS-65 and an MS-67 can mean thousands of dollars, which is why collectors place such emphasis on condition, luster, and strike quality. But even circulated coins can surprise, because a 1932 D quarter in very good condition can still bring hundreds of dollars. And those who stumble upon one in their pocket change or old family collections may not realize they are holding a small fortune. And beyond the classic rarities, era coins bring another layer of excitement, with examples like the 1965 transitional era quarter struck on a 90% silver planchet instead of the intended copper-nickel-clad planchet, making it extremely valuable, with one such error selling for over $7,000, while off-metal errors such as quarters struck on nickel or cent planchets can fetch thousands depending on rarity and condition, and in recent years, registry sets have pushed prices higher, as competitive collectors seek to assemble the finest known sets certified by PCGS or NGC, which has driven up demand for top-grade coins, particularly from the early years of the series, and this relentless pursuit has kept the Washington Quarter in the spotlight among numismatists, not just in the United States but worldwide, as its simple yet powerful design featuring George Washington's portrait on the obverse and the American eagle on the reverse for much of its history represents American heritage in coin form, and as such, the Washington Quarter Dollar stands as both a circulating workhorse of the U.S. economy and a collectible powerhouse that continues to surprise with record-breaking auction prices, fascinating varieties, and timeless appeal, making it one of the most important and valuable coins ever produced in American history. And as we continue to explore this incredible coin in greater depth, we'll uncover even more stories, varieties, and values that make the Washington Quarter truly special. As we continue our journey into the fascinating world of the Washington Quarter Dollar, it becomes even clearer that this coin is more than just a piece of everyday change. It is a living storybook of American history, design evolution, minting technology, and collector passion, and to truly appreciate the Washington Quarter, one must look beyond the well-known 1932D and 1932S rarities and dive deeper into the subsequent decades where hidden treasures and surprising values lie. For example, the 1937 double die obverse, which features distinct doubling in the lettering, a variety that in higher mint state grades has sold for thousands of dollars, or the 1943 S quarters, which in MS-68 condition brought an astonishing $23,000 at auction, proving that even during the busy war years when millions of coins were produced, gems exist that can take collectors' breath away. And if we look into the post-silver era starting in 1965, when the U.S. Mint transitioned to copper-nickel-clad coinage due to rising silver costs, we see another fascinating chapter of Washington Quarter collecting, because while these modern quarters are common in circulation, special transitional errors and high-grade condition examples can still bring in huge premiums, with a famous case being a 1965 Washington Quarter struck accidentally on a 90% silver planchet intended for 1964, which fetched over $7,000 at auction, and this demonstrates how even small minting mistakes can transform an ordinary-looking coin into a treasure. But the Washington Quarter's journey didn't stop there, as in 1975 and 1976 the nation celebrated the bicentennial, and for the first time since 1932, a major design change was introduced with a colonial drummer boy reverse that instantly became iconic, and while billions were struck, making most examples worth only face value, the 40% silver bicentennial issues and pristine gem condition proofs can command premiums that excite collectors, especially when graded PR70 or MS67 and above. And in more recent times, the 50-state quarters program that began in 1999 completely reinvigorated public interest in coin collecting by introducing 50 unique reverse designs honoring each state, making millions of Americans casual collectors. And while most circulated state quarters remain at face value, rare errors such as double strikes, off-centers, or coins struck on the wrong planchet have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, keeping the excitement alive. And then came the America the Beautiful quarters beginning in 2010 with breathtaking designs of national parks and landmarks, again showing that the Washington Quarter has become a canvas for storytelling through coinage. Yet when it comes to value, the collectors always circle back to the early silver quarters and the key rarities that set records, like the 1932D and MS66, which brought nearly $90,000, or the 1932S in superb condition, which soared past $35,000, or even the stunning 1949D in MS68 condition that hit nearly $44,000. And we cannot forget the ultra-rare error coins like off-metal strikes or the 1950D/S over mint mark, which fetch thousands, all of which prove that the Washington Quarter remains a coin that can turn up surprises in dealer inventories, old collections, or even circulation. And perhaps what makes this coin so captivating is the way it connects every American, because whether you're a seasoned numismatist chasing registry set perfection, a silver investor holding pre-1965 quarters for bullion content, or a casual collector who picked up a state quarter album with your kids, the Washington Quarter is part of your story, part of American culture, and part of numismatic heritage that refuses to fade away. And as time goes on, as more collectors compete for top-quality examples, as silver becomes scarcer, and as error coins continue to amaze, the values of these coins are likely to remain strong, ensuring that the Washington Quarter will always be among the most valuable and respected coins in U.S. history. So if you have some quarters lying around, check them carefully because you might just be holding one of the rarest and most expensive quarters ever minted, and that thrill of discovery is exactly what keeps this hobby alive and exciting. So with that, we conclude this deep exploration of the Washington quarter dollar, one of America's most beloved coins. Its story rich with history, variety, and value. And I hope this video gave you a complete look into why this coin matters so much to collectors and historians alike. So make sure to stay tuned for more amazing coin stories and breakdowns coming soon. And as always, thanks for watching.